Hi everyone, Steve Chandler here. I wanted to take a minute just to share a little bit of framework, what I refer to as the 4Fs framework or mindset. This has been an experience that I experienced last year, and my wife and I have really just grown by implementing this process into our lives. And so I wanted to share with you guys. I know at the minimum we have a few more weeks before we get the opportunity to get back into the salons and start doing some work. And so this is a wonderful time while all of us are at home and really contemplating our lives and thinking about the things that we want to grow on or the things that we want to maybe back off on. This is a wonderful time for us to just dive in and really get our goals sorted out. And so what I wanted to share with you guys today is the 4Fs. And some of you guys may have heard this before. This is not something I came up with. This was shared with me a year ago from one of my mentors. And so I wanted to share this with you guys because I really think this is a very simplistic approach to organizing your goals to really get the most out of your life. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, I think about all of the years that I spent behind the chair and how many of those years that I really was shooting and striving to achieve happiness and true happiness. And I think when we talk about true happiness, it comes down to some certain aspects of our lives to make sure that we're growing and accelerating that growth to continue to find that happiness. And so I wanted to share that with you guys today. And again, that is the 4Fs framework or mindset. And so really where we're going to go with that is what the 4Fs are is faith, family, fitness, and finance. And so I've seen this presentation done with more than 4Fs. It just got a little bit more confusing, and this just really simplified it. So we'll talk about the 4Fs today and really just try to get your minds thinking and really to challenge you guys to start setting goals to grow in each aspect of these. So first one would be faith. And on each of these aspects, it's the most important thing is going to be to set goals. And so when we talk about faith, no matter what your belief is, we all need to have faith and to ensure that we are growing on that aspect. Whether it's believing in a higher power, I believe in a higher power, but if that's not you, faith comes in many different avenues, and to make sure that we are harnessing this concept and growing in our life, setting goals in areas that we can grow. It could even be faith within yourself and faith within the people that you're surrounded with. And so, working on some of these goals, ultimately to grow. Another idea on this would be possibly to meditate, or like I said earlier, or faith in a higher power. And whatever that faith is to you, dig deep. Find out what areas that you want to grow on that aspect. Make sure that we're setting the time aside to set goals, to maybe find our center and our balance, and to make sure that we are working on growing that faith that lives within inside ourselves. The next one would be family, and in that aspect, I think that's another huge aspect to set goals in. And the reason I say that is, I think with family, and for my life, I'll use myself as an example, is I think the most important aspect to family is to be present, to make sure you are spending that time with your family and continuing to grow and elevate in that. I know an aspect for us is continuing to grow and encourage growth in our children. We've got children at home that we still have a responsibility to make sure that they are learning the right mindset and the right development to really get the most out of this life that they can get out of as well. I think time spent with family is a huge aspect to this, to make sure that you are spending that time. You've got a lot of different aspects to a family. To some of us, family could be our parents. To some of us, it could be our siblings. To some of us, it could be our children, and or all of those. To some of us, it might be our friends that are our family right now, as we might be young and haven't really developed that portion of our life. And so whatever that is to you, to make sure that you are setting goals in that aspect, in that area of your life, to make sure that you are growing in this area as well. So we've covered faith, we've covered family, which in those categories would be the importance to me would be starting with that faith. Second importance would be that family. And the next importance that I would kind of list out would be fitness. And when we talk about fitness, I don't want to say, hey, go jump down on the floor and give 10 push-ups and that's going to help you grow. Again, I think in fitness, it comes down to setting goals and ultimately finding ways to grow. I'm going to use myself as an example real quick. 20 years I did hair a certain way. I didn't focus on my fitness very much. I focused on the creativity, I focused on my clients, and I focused on the other aspects of my life. But fitness was one area that I didn't really focus on. Where I paid the price was after an 8 to 10 hour shift, I was tired at the end of that shift. I didn't have a lot of energy to keep pushing forward. So after about 20 years of doing hair, I started to implement fitness into my lifestyle. And after 20 years of struggling at the end of my 8 or 10 hour day, wanting to go home and go to bed, now I was going to work 8 to 10 hours a day. Then I would leave, I would go to the gym and work out for another hour to 2 hours, and then go home and start to unwind. And so it's amazing what fitness can do for you when you set goals and continue to grow. So whatever those goals are, continue to push yourself and push yourself outside of the comfort zone. Find a group of friends that can continue to push you or challenge you in this downtime to set some fitness goals and push yourself out of your comfort zone and get a little uncomfortable. If you're not hurting, you're probably not growing. And so that's one of those areas to focus on and make that an importance of your life. The last aspect that I want to touch on is finance. And finance is one of those areas that most of us are sitting at home right now as hairdressers. So we're not able to jump into the salon and really crank out that finance. But now is the time for us to sit back and set goals for finance. And so now is the time for us to figure out, how much more money did I want to make every pay period? What do I need to do, and how do I need to break that down to get to those goals? Do I need to figure out some add-on services, or do I need to look at training myself to take a promotion to get to the next level? Whatever that may be for you, sit down and set your goals out. It's not always about the money, and I think that's a huge aspect when it comes to finance. Is it's not just about the dollar, but it's ultimately about setting that goal to continue to grow. And when I say that, I don't want to make this point the wrong way. When it comes to money, if you have a negative relationship with money, or if you have a bad outlook on it, that could just be the way you're perceiving it, and really work on changing that, because money doesn't have to be the evil. It can become an evil if we don't look at it in the right manner. But money truly could give us the opportunity to achieve the goals and to do the things with our family, our friends, our faith that we always wanted to. So don't make money a negative thing. Keep that as an importance, because I think when you balance each of these aspects out, that's where true happiness comes into play. And so make sure that when finances, that we've learned our lessons along the way. When I think of finances, I think of the generation above us that may have learned, or a couple generations above us. How are they moving into the different housing bracket, or how are they sitting themselves into business further ahead as the years and decades go on? And that becomes the things that we've learned along the way. We've continued to add that to our repertoire to make ourselves more valuable and more knowledgeable to be able to accomplish more. And so if you've got a negative view on money, change that view and really simplify this to look at it and go, ultimately, I've got to set some goals to make sure that I'm achieving goals in each of these aspects of my life to make sure that I'm fulfilled, I'm happy, and I'm continuing to move forward. And so next year, you won't look back and go, well, I didn't grow. I grew here, but I didn't grow here. Well, set goals. Figure this out. Take the time to do this. My recommendation to you would be every 3 months, sit down and write new goals. As hairdressers, think about it. We do fashion shows. We put inspiration boards together, and that's what I'm recommending to you. Every 3 months, put an inspiration board together and write your goals in each of those aspects. And if you write those goals on the 4 F's and continue to look at those, keep that inspiration board in a place of your house or a place of your, where you're working, that you look at on a regular basis. Because the more you look at this, the more it's going to inspire you, and the more it's going to be real and something that you can actually strive to obtain. So keep that in mind. One last thing I wanted to hit you guys with on this mindset was when it comes down to breaking down the hours of our week. And so when it comes down to it, we've got 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that gives us 168 hours a week. Now, mind you, most of us sleep 8 hours a day. So 8 hours a day times 7 days a week is 56 hours a week that we were going to be asleep at 8 hours a day. I know some of us do less than that. Some of us might do more than that. But ultimately, we're kind of pushing that number on that. So 56 hours a week we're spending sleeping, which leaves us 112 awake hours of our week to accomplish these four categories of goals, mind you. So if you are a career hairdresser, a driven hairdresser, you're probably working 40 hours a week, and those 40 hours a week are going to help you to start achieving those financial goals. But really, if you break down those 40 hours a week and figure out, how can I maximize? Do I need to look at taking a promotion? Do I need to look at, service add-ons, or how can I increase my dollar value for the amount of time that I'm spending at work? I'm not recommending that we work more, because I know as hairdressers, we work our butts off. The goal is to get the most we can out of that 40 hours a week to ultimately set us up for success with everything else that we've got going on. So if we take out 40 hours of work a week out of the remaining 112 hours, that leaves us with 72 hours a week to do the other three categories. So 40 hours a week focused on finance. So now we've got 72 hours a week to focus on fitness, family, and faith. And let's just talk about fitness with that concept. How many hours a day can we work out? An hour, maybe 2 hours a day. And so that's going to take, let's say it's an hour a day, that's 7 hours a week. We take 7 hours out of that, we still have 65 hours remaining for faith and family. And so really, when we break this thing down, there's plenty of time in every week for us to accomplish our goals. But sometimes we just have to slow that process down, simplify it, maybe put it on writing, which is weird for us as hairdressers, but I encourage you, put it down on paper, look at it, make an inspirational board out of it, and continue to force yourself to look at this day in and day out. You will find yourself achieving these goals and continuing to grow. So when it's time for that next set of goals, it will be a whole new set of goals, pushing you and growing you to a higher level. Hopefully you guys got a little something out of this. I know when I heard this message last year, it impacted me, and it's something that we here have been focusing on, and ultimately achieving our goals based on this 4Fs concept. And so we wanted to share that with you guys today. I hope you guys are doing well, staying healthy and safe. We love you guys, and have a wonderful day. Bye.